I hope you're all enjoying your lunch. Thanks so much again for being here at the GWATA Awards Luncheon. Once again, I'm Clint Strand. It's my distinct pleasure to be up here with you today, and we have a fantastic program for you. Want to thank once again the good people over at People's Bank and JDSA Law. They're helping to make this afternoon possible for us. To talk a little bit more about the afternoon and upcoming events, it's my pleasure once again to welcome Dan Paquette, GWATA Board President. Dan.
All righty, thank you and welcome to the 16th Annual GWATA Innovators Award Luncheon. Last night while talking with our guest speaker, I was reminded why we have such passion for GWATA and get so excited each year when this event rolls around. It's because innovation, technology, and an entrepreneurial spirit are great equalizers and make just about anything possible. We get inspired as we hear the stories of the nominees and guest speakers and leave thinking that that next big thing may just be brewing in our own valley and we might get to be a part of it. Before we begin, I'd like to recognize and thank those that helped us with today's event. First, I'd like to start by thanking all of you. Your memberships and participation at our events are what provide us with purpose and motivation for all the things that GWATA does. Next, I'd like to thank the Ports of Chelan and Douglas counties. These organizations have been strategic partners for GWATA for years and were the first to provide financial support through annual agreements. We're very excited to be able to also recognize additional sponsors that have chosen to support us in this annual manner this year. Native Networks, Yahoo, T-Mobile, LocalTel, and NCWLIFE channel, which also helped us put together our videos today. Thank you, and please help me in thanking these annual sponsors for all that they have done to help, as well as those listed in your program. In addition to the financial support that we receive from our sponsors, we couldn't run this organization without the many volunteers who give of their time year after year. If you are a GWATA board member or advisor, please stand and let us recognize you. And this year, for the first time in GWATA's history, we have been fortunate enough to find, and with all of our local support, be able to fund a full-time staff member to help keep these awesome resources working efficiently. She keeps me and other board members on task, strengthens the relationships with our partners, and plans and organizes our events. I'd like to thank you and introduce to you GWATA's Executive Director, Jenny Napier. Please help me by thanking her.
Well, good afternoon. Looking out in the audience, this is exciting, and it's such an honor to be here today as GWATA's Executive Director. I took a leap of faith last fall in accepting this newly created position. It's been an incredible opportunity to grow this organization, and I couldn't do that without the support of my board of directors, as well as our community partners who have been very supportive in being mentors and resources for me. So thank you. So what is GWATA? I know we have a lot of new faces out there today, so I just wanted to spend a minute talking about our organization. GWATA stands for the Greater Wenatchee Area Technology Alliance. Our focus can be kind of bucketed down into three areas: technology, entrepreneurship, and STEM education. Our mission is to bring people and technology resources together to create a thriving community. We accomplish our mission by facilitating tech education and connections for businesses and entrepreneurs. I want to invite you to our upcoming events. We've got a packed schedule in April. On April 13th, we're participating in the Business After School at Wenatchee Valley Tech. On April 14th, we're hosting an entrepreneurial panel. It's featuring local business owners who have been in business less than 5 years and are reflective of diverse industries. On April 21st, we're starting a new event for GWATA, Talk Tech and Happy Hour at our one of our local favorites, Badger Mountain Brewery. So you can come, yeah, right? Beer. Thank you. Yeah. So come join us where we're going to talk tech and have a couple beers. And then lastly, I want to talk about some of our education events. So on May 14th at Pybus Public Market, we will be hosting the Technology and STEM Showcase. That's an event with school districts from throughout North Central Washington. And then later this fall, the second annual Mini Maker Fair. And I've got a lot of maker students in the audience. If they want to stand really quick. All right. So these students are leading this movement and event, and we want to support them. So kudos to them for being here today and putting on the Maker Fair. Lastly, I want to invite you to join GWATA as a business or individual member. Perks of membership include free or discounted tickets to all of our events. Take the entrepreneurial panel on April 14th. If you're a GWATA member, you go to that event for free. At the conclusion of today, Jordan Lindstrom, one of our board members, is going to be in the back. We've got a little GWATA booth talking about membership. So if you have any questions, please see Jordan or ask any one of our board members. So the best part about my job so far has definitely been this Innovator Awards Luncheon. It's incredible to hear the stories that have come from the community, from education to businesses. I want to tell you that this year we were flooded with nominations for these awards. We received 58 nominations across the categories. With the support of independent committees, the 58 nominations were then narrowed down to the top in each category. It was an incredible task to narrow down this field, and I really wish I could spend all day highlighting each one of these businesses and individuals who were nominated. They're absolutely incredible. In your program today, we've listed all of them. I really encourage you to take that home, look up these local companies, find out about what's going on in your schools, and most importantly, recognize these individuals for their hard work. I also want to let you know that today, while we will only show the video of our final winner, we're going to be posting videos of our nominees on our Facebook, YouTube, and website. We're very thankful to NCWLIFE for producing these videos, and I encourage you to watch them airing later on LocalTel Channel 12. I want to also thank our Bronze and Dave event sponsors. Several of them have set up booths in the back, so if you didn't have a chance to browse that when you came in, I encourage you to check that out later today. Well, now I'm excited to pass it back to Clint, who's going to do a great job as our MC today, and he is going to introduce our keynote speaker. So, on behalf of GWATA, thank you and enjoy.
Thank you very much, Jenny. Well, it's about time I introduce our keynote speaker for the afternoon. I'm super excited for this, but first, I have to give a bit of a confession. Now, this may seem a little bit contradictory, maybe even hypocritical considering the surroundings, but I have to tell you, I know we all live in amazing times right now, but there are times where I look at the pace of our technological advances, and I give that progress, not shade, maybe a little bit of a side eye. It's not that technology scares me, far from it. We live better because of it. But I don't prefer my essays on papyrus. I use Microsoft Word, don't worry. But I do worry at times whether these amazing technological advances we're so lucky to enjoy are really advancing us as a society, or whether we're simply looking at more advanced ways of people trying to sell us stuff. And then I have the pleasure of meeting someone like Ari Hollander, like I did yesterday evening, and I feel a little bit better about this whole progress thing. Ari has degrees in astrophysics from UC Berkeley and advanced interface technology from the University of Washington. That makes my head hurt. I don't even know what it is, and it sounds amazing. In layman's terms, he has spent his career exploring the human sensory system, literally the way we perceive the world, in order to build virtual ones, not as an escape necessarily, but as a tool to help us deal with the real world we live in every day. His genius is to help build tools to help those in the throes of unmanageable physical pain deal better with it, and helping those suffering emotional traumatic wounds confront them and move past them. Simply put, he and his company Deepstream VR are utilizing technology, helping us to be better humans and to live a more fulfilled life. And I can't think of a better thing to celebrate. So please join me in giving a very warm Wenatchee welcome to Deepstream VR CTO and co-founder, Ari Hollander.
Let's see if this microphone is, can you hear me? All right. Well, that was a great introduction. Thanks, Clint. Did you guys get a chance to play with the Google Glass, the Google Cardboard technology that's sitting on your table there? How many of you? If I can see past the purple lights. Okay, good. So you got a little bit of a taste of what virtual reality is all about, but it's just a little taste. Just wait until you see what's coming. Now, I like low tech too, and we'll talk about that a little bit. My wife uses a manual typewriter to write poetry, so I'm not just a tech person. But I'm here to tell you today that I think that virtual reality is going to change the world. And Deepstream VR is working on a paradigm shift in healthcare to help that change happen. So I've been working in VR for about 25 years. And throughout that time, I've been trying to concentrate on applications of virtual reality technology that make the real world a better place. And so in 1995, I started a company called Firsthand Technology. And Firsthand was dedicated to educational technology and to making VR apps for research. Let's see. There we go. And we've had a chance to work with some great companies and institutions over the years. And we've got some tremendous media coverage. Just to give you a sense of the extent to which we've been able to touch some people's lives, there's a playwright by the name of Lindsay Ferrantino, and she saw news coverage on one of the applications that we worked on with some researchers, and she was inspired by that to write a stage play, and that stage play was produced in New York City, off Broadway, starred Mamie Gummer, who is Meryl Streep's daughter. It won awards. It was a New York Times critic's pick. So it's strange ways that technology gets out into the art world. Who would have expected it? And when it became clear that virtual reality was finally going mainstream, we started Deepstream VR to take some of the best applications that we had learned about over those years in working in VR technology and take them out of the lab and into the real world where they can do the most good. Now, a lot of people are saying that virtual reality is going to change the world. You don't have to take my word for it. And virtual reality allows you to go places, impossible places, and do impossible things. It will allow surgeons to plan and rehearse surgeries without touching a patient. Out into the lab and into the world, we had a huge milestone just yesterday. The Oculus Rift shipped out to homes around the world, and soon to be followed by the HTC Vive, and then later in the year by the Sony PlayStation VR. And Sony, these other machines, the other systems, they require a fairly beefy computer to run. But Sony's thing, there are 36 million people out there with PlayStation 4s who will be able to spend $400 on a headset and get this really high quality virtual reality experience. More people than ever before will have this, be able to be immersed in their media in ways that they kind of haven't been able to imagine yet. So virtual reality is the largest bandwidth we have between digital computers and the brain. It enables these impossible experiences, but it's not the whole reason that virtual reality will change the world. Virtual reality will change the world because virtual reality will change you. As it turned out, one of those best applications of virtual reality that I talked about earlier was pain relief. It turns out that when you put someone in an immersive virtual world, they feel less pain. At the Human Interface Technology Lab at the University of Washington, this is once again back in the 90s, the director of the lab and two psychologists, they saw some work by another psychologist, Ramachandran, where he used a mirror box to treat amputees with phantom limb pain, terrible phantom limb pain, and he was able to cure a lot of these people by creating this very simple, low-tech virtual world and show them that other limbs in the mirror and help them with therapy be able to conquer that pain. So Patterson and Hoffman and Furness thought about this, and they said, well, we've got a VR lab. What could we do with virtual reality in this domain? And so they took an application, one that I'd actually worked on with them, and they repurposed it and tried it with burn patients. These are people with some of the most severe pain that you can experience. And they found that it significantly reduced their pain. And over the next 15 years or so, there have been hundreds of studies of virtual reality, all kinds of amazing results from it. Some cases, some of the studies showed that virtual reality was better than opioid medications like morphine for pain. It also can be used in combination with morphine. A lot of people have problems with opioid medications, and then of course there is the issues of addiction and so forth. But it did some amazing things for people. And this video doesn't have any sound, but this is, this is a little news story about Sam Brown. He was a vet from Afghanistan, or fought in Afghanistan, got hit with an improvised explosive device, terribly burned. He came back and to recover, and they used an application called Snow World, which is an immersive virtual reality system that I worked on. And Snow World helped him with his pain and helped him with his recovery. This was the story that inspired Lindsay Ferrantino to write that play. It was all about coming back and using virtual worlds to help you recover and reintegrate into the real world. Just a tremendously inspiring story. And there is a huge problem. Oops. Try again. There we go. There is a huge problem with pain medication. We are 4% of the world's population in this country, and we consume 80% of the opioids. We've got a big drug problem here. And it's to the extent that it's an epidemic. The CDC just 2 weeks ago published new warnings and new sort of dire statements about prescribing pain medications, and they've got new guidelines for physicians on those prescriptions. And so it's a big problem, and if you have an alternative solution for that, then that would be a fantastic thing. Now, virtual reality pain relief. That's pain relief in software. Think about that for a second. That means that you've got a pain relief system that's highly scalable, can be delivered over the internet once you've got this installed base that I'm talking about that's arriving in people's homes now. And it enables certain things that you might not expect. Over the last 35 years, our culture has been evolving. We have now unprecedented levers into the psyche that we can use with interactive media. Oh, but one of the key elements here is that when you add things like biosensors, so there's been an explosion in consumer biosensors as well. Everybody, their Fitbit, which they now put in a drawer, and there's the Microsoft Band there. But when you add that to virtual reality, you get something that's really interesting, which is a bidirectional system, and that is that you can close the loop, and the computer has a lot more information about you, and you have a lot more information about the computer, and that allows you, us as software developers, to make things that are responsive, which is really an interesting thing. And as I was saying, there are unprecedented levers into the psyche that we haven't had before. So this chart's kind of an odd one here. This talks about the evolution of our culture in a strange way. The way we play says a lot about who we are and how we think. And if you take a look, something odd happened on that chart in about 2006, 2007. By the year 2007, movies and music were displaced by computer games. So we started to become an interactive media culture. Why did this happen around then? Well, I have a theory, and this is very unscientific, but if you go back to 1983, when the Atari VCS system came out, the Atari 2600, and that actually came out a little earlier than that, but that was really when it penetrated into the marketplace. So all of a sudden people had these toys in their homes that were interactive media. Well, fast forward about 29 years, and those kids grew up and had their own kids. And that curve there is the generation curve that shows just how many people who are second generation video game players. And you can see how that aligns nicely. Now, completely unscientific, but it's kind of compelling, I thought. Okay, so anyway, so what can you do with that? What are these levers that I'm talking about under your psyche? Well, back before the turn of the century, you can tell it's before the turn of the century because of the black and white photography. There was a guy by the name of Tom Rees that came to the HIT lab where I was working, the Human Interface Technology Lab at UW. And he had Parkinson's disease. And Parkinson's is one of these really strange neurological disorders that has all kinds of unusual effects to it. It affects the way that your brain functions and the way you control your body and a whole bunch of different things. And one of Tom Rees's problems was that he had a great deal of difficulty with starting the motion of walking. Now, that's a pretty inconvenient thing. But one of the things that's known about Parkinson's, and this is kind of an Oliver Sacks weird thing, is that if you've got some kind of a visual cue, then you can short circuit that blockage in starting walking. And so, here you are standing there and you can't start walking, but if you've got a visual cue, say something like this, you can step over that. And that gets around the blockage, and then you can walk, and you can keep walking. And that's a kind of a solution, but it's a little inconvenient because if you stop, and then okay, what am I going to do now? Okay, well, I've got another one here, so I'm going to put that up there, and I can start walking again, and it smooths it out. But it's not convenient, and so oh dear. And that's just the problem with startups, is that you run out of visual cues. I don't know. Anyway, but Tom Rees came to us, and he knew he was kind of a scientist that experimented on himself in a lot of ways, and he had all kinds of interesting solutions to this problem. But he said, can you guys make some virtual reality technology for me that will help me with this problem? And so what I helped do with some researchers there. You can see Suzanne Weghorst there in the background. I helped them put together an application using an old augmented reality system. It was called the Virtual Vision Sport, and this kind of big visor thing you wore on your face, and it projected a view that was overlaid over the real world. And so what I did is I made this thing, a pattern of sliding objects that slid toward Tom, and he was able to look at those wherever he was, and step over them, and it helped him walk more normally. That was kind of phenomenal. And he could use it whenever he wanted. He didn't have to, dig through his pockets for loose change. But so what I did is that, what we did there is that we took this low-tech solution that's pretty inconvenient, and we replaced it with a high-tech solution that was pretty inconvenient. And that's not the best of solutions. So we said, he had some suggestions, and we were working with him, and we came up with this idea. Well, what if we reduced it down to its essential characteristics? We made a 1-bit virtual world, a 1-bit augmented reality. There it is. So I don't know if you can see the laser pointer spot. So imagine I got this here. So he had a headband with a laser pointer on it. And there was his visual cue. 1-bit virtual reality, not so bad, very, very low key. Now they were red back then, they didn't have this high-tech green stuff. Yeah, but so he was using that, and he was walking around. He was able to walk much more smoothly, and it was a pretty good solution, a little bit cumbersome. But then one day he came to us and he said, well, I've discovered that I can just turn it off and imagine the spot. And so building up that scaffolding, first starting with the visualization of this thing and being able to habituate himself to that, and then reducing it down to this 1-bit system, and then just turning it off. It was, what we did is we reprogrammed his brain using virtual reality technology. And now we've got all of these people who are craving interactive media, who are excited about doing a lot of the things that they do in that way, who become this big force that's driving a lot of innovation and interesting things going on. And we've got these amazing opportunities now that we can do incredible things with it. So this is our first product, or just a little glimpse of it. It's a virtual world that is being used in clinics for pain relief. And we're sort of in the test marketing phase now. We've got it in a few high-profile hospitals and clinics who are trying it out, figuring out how to bring it into the flow of care. And so, we've got some really exciting things going on. And this is just the beginning, because once we've got systems online that we can do things like help you change health behaviors, help you learn how to overcome your limitations, then anything is possible. Thank you.
Can we call him the smartest person in the room? I think we can. That is absolutely amazing. Talking about innovation globally, and now we're talking about innovation locally. Once again, we are talking about the Entrepreneur of the Year Award, and I want to welcome up the good folks over at People's Bank. Come on up. So who draws the short straw here? Ann George.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon. I'm Ann George. I'm the manager of the Wenatchee Real Estate Loan Center at People's Bank. Just here to kind of tell you a little bit about People's Bank. Also want to thank everybody for allowing us to be one of the key sponsors here. We've always attended and always had a great time and wanted to do more, so we stepped up this year. So what I have is People's Bank has 2 offices here in the Chelan and Douglas County. We have a depository office in East Wenatchee Safeway, and then we have a full-service office in Wenatchee on 9th and Wenatchee Avenue or Mission. So with me, I brought my team, or most of my team. I have Daryl Ansley here. He's a real estate loan officer. He's assistant vice president. Kathy Rixey, she's down here. I can't see because the purple lights. Kathy returned after taking a little sabbatical with another lender in other states, and so anyway, we're really happy to have her back. I have Dee Sand. She is my loan processor. I call her the best processor in the world. Celia Cool, who is an underwriter. She works with us right in our office, so we can kind of sneak in and pick her brain about scenarios, which is awesome. Jerry Fisher. Jerry Fisher is a new addition to the People's Bank team. He represents financial services, and it's been a great addition. We just love having Jerry with us. So at this point, I am going to turn this over to Dave Mann. He is the business banking team leader, and I think it was the Business Journal that we were voted best place to get a business loan, which we were really excited about. We didn't even stuff the ballot box, so there you go. Dave, here we go.
I'm Dave Mann, Senior Vice President and Commercial Team Leader. I manage a group of 7 commercial lenders and support staff. We do business loans for people in Eastern Washington. I've got one small office in the Tri-Cities, so we cover the east side of the state for the bank. Very proud to be the best bank to get a business loan from the Journal. That was a real surprise for us, but very happy to be here today and support GWATA. Next, I wanted to introduce Don Floyd. Don's our brand new branch manager that we just hired. In fact, this is his first appearance for the bank. Don's got 20 years of banking experience and grew up in the Wenatchee Valley and has a lot of great connections. And we're very excited to have Don join us as part of our team here in Wenatchee. And then finally, Daryl Ansley's going to go over the nominations for Entrepreneur of the Year Award and I think announce the winner. So, Daryl.
All right. Thank you. And it's great to be part of this portion, recognizing the Entrepreneur of the Year. And as I was going through the nominees, it was amazing to me just to see what these people have been through. Because, as a community bank, we get out into the field, meet business people. And so I had the opportunity, at least with two of these nominees, to see them several generations ago, 10 years ago, in small businesses that later changed, became something new, made it through the recession, rebuilt themselves, reinvented their business, and are now thriving as another business. And that's just what entrepreneurship is all about. So it's just neat to be part of a community where you're able to interact and see that. And so to have these, I look at these as business heroes in our own community is just amazing. So I want to go through and give you a little bit of background on the three nominees before we announce the winner. So the first one is TUMBLEWEED. TUMBLEWEED started as a designer maker of jewelry aimed at middle market consumers. They started out of their house selling online and now have an e-commerce business in addition to 2 retail stores, one in Leavenworth and one in Wenatchee. And with jewelry as their base product, Tyler and Jessica Russell have been innovative in their marketing and distribution with a high-risk product that's readily available in the marketplace. And they've been so effective in their innovation and craft, they now nurture other starting entrepreneurs in how to attain this type of success with out-of-the-box thinking. Several businesses who started as consignment vendors with them now own their own local storefronts. And then next is the Salcedo connection. And I first met Malachi Salcedo in his CPA office when he was an accountant. And to hear his story of where he went from there, getting into business, adversity, and what he's built is just a phenomenal story. Salcedo Connection is now a multidisciplined contractor headquartered in Wenatchee since its inception by Malachi 14 years ago. It started as a one-man show providing heating and air conditioning service, has grown into a multi-million-dollar operation. The Salcedo Connection is now the largest full-service contracting firm in the region, providing a full range of competencies and services including mechanical, electrical, building controls, data, telecommunications, security, fiber, food safety, engineering, and general contracting. And then Centricity LLC. Again, I met Drew Zabrocki years ago, again, with another business he had. And he, like Malachi, have made it through the recession, built new businesses, any of these people could be teaching an MBA program on how to build a business through a recession. So Centricity Software has developed thousands of companies in food and agriculture. As a startup, Drew has sold his way to success and created a profitable venture with significant market valuation. Drew has embedded Centricity solutions with leading global food companies, regulatory, non-governmental, and financial institutions, all the while advocating privacy and intellectual property rights of local and national service providers and farmers. So, trying to grasp that, I went back and looked at their website, which helps explain it, but to be able to take data and security and safety and integrating the farms and government agencies and all the data collection, it's amazing. But Centricity is currently poised to provide services globally by the end of 2016 with established distribution to over 2 million customers. And again, and these are all three, here in our valley, you go to work each day, go home, thinking, okay, here's this little community. And yet, through the internet, through technology, and basically fueled by entrepreneurial leadership, here are 3 individuals who've built huge enterprises in our little town. It's just amazing. So, I haven't seen these yet. You'll be able to watch it with me. The Entrepreneur of the Year is TUMBLEWEED, Tyler and Jessica Russell. Okay. Come on up.
It all started when I was waiting tables and I decided I wanted to be self-employed, and I'd made jewelry in college and high school growing up, and so I thought that I could make a business of it, and so I just decided to try it, and I did, and I would do like home shows, like Tupperware party kind of things, and do those, and they were really successful, and it just kind of grew from there. So we have a jewelry line that is real It's really simple, feminine jewelry. A lot of women like it. Women of all ages wear it. You know, that was one thing that I really had to adapt is our jewelry line and making sure that we were making jewelry that could be mass reproduced, but also staying true to ourselves and keeping it in-house. We make everything right here in our shop. In order to be successful making jewelry, you have to really look at what you're making in your product and see how it's marketable and how, we want to sell it to shops so then they can resell it also. So we have to be making at least enough money off of each piece, and then that price needs to be then doubled in order for it to be sold into another shop. When we moved here, we noticed that there wasn't any stores that sold locally made things. People have great pride in Wenatchee and they love supporting Wenatchee and local things. And so we saw that there was nothing like that going on, so we knew that we could fill that niche. And since then we have a number of people that used to sell in our shop, or maybe they still do, but they've gone and now opened up their own places and they have their own workshop studio in the back and then a storefront. We look at the opportunity and it always just feels right, and then if it feels right, then we go for it. And so, opening the shop, our first shop we were really nervous about it, but we had, we made it as simple as possible and as cheap as possible. And then more than anything, we just know that we'll have to work hard, and if we stay true to those basics, that it'll be successful.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. It's a great honor to be recognized for this award, especially with the other people. We're all Panther alums, I think, and that's kind of cool too. From day one, really, Wenatchee has supported our business beyond our expectations. By shopping in our stores, you are not only supporting us, you are supporting a large network of local artists that are able to live here, make a living, and in turn continue to make our economy right and we think a little bit more fun.
Just a huge thank you to my wife for having the vision to start this 14 years ago out of our house down in Oregon, and we're so proud to bring it to the Wenatchee Valley. John McQuaig and Linda Haglund, who we're told wrote amazing nomination letters to GWATA. A huge thank you to you guys. You guys have been very supportive. Our Tumbleweed staff, Bridget, Emily, and Shelby that are here, you guys make us what we are. Jackie and Mike Inslee of Inslee & Company, amazing marketing people and some of our best friends. They've provided an amazing blueprint on how we as a small business can uniquely portray Tumbleweed for exactly what we are to the Wenatchee Valley and beyond that. Certainly GWATA, Jenny's done a great job, all of you guys. The Downtown Association, Linda, Char, the Chamber, Dave Galatly and Kelly Schmidt at the Fuller Quigg Building for believing us when we started this thing. And all of our customers in the whole Wenatchee Valley. On behalf of that, of Tumbleweed, thank you so much. Thank you, Wenatchee.
Before we move on, quick story time about Tumbleweed, and they don't know I'm going to say this. A couple weeks ago, my wife came home. I have two small daughters, 7 and 3, and they came home from a shopping trip in Wenatchee. We live in Leavenworth. And she had the biggest smile on my face, my wife, and told me this story about how we went into this shop and we were just going to mill around a little bit, and one of the artists came out and took our daughters back and showed them how to make jewelry and how to make beading. And my daughter and I had the biggest conversation about it, and she was absolutely thrilled. And I said, my God, where is this place? She said, it's Tumbleweed. And so I guess you need a lot of great marketing, you need vision, you need great ideas, and you need sound planning, but at the same time, what it comes down to is affecting a customer one person at a time. And that is one personal story about how they affected us. So thank you for being here in the Valley. It's phenomenal. Moving on to our next award. This is the Tech Savvy Business of the Year. This is presented by JDSA Law. And I'd like to welcome up to present this award, Mr. Todd Keys. Because I am a company man, I will mention that JDSA Law has a phenomenal conversation every Thursday on Coho 101.1.
There we go. All right, there we go. Well, thank you for that introduction. On behalf of Jeffers Danielson, I wanted to thank the GWATA board and the executive team for giving us the chance to present today. It's an honor to honor our Tech Savvy Business of the Year. So in presenting the award, it kind of started us thinking about why do we all have this fascination with technology and innovation? Is it because we've got this profound interest in improved efficiencies? I'm not so sure. Is it because we have a deep affection for reduced costs of production, sort of a drive to see reduced costs of production out there? Well, I'm not sure that does it either. Is it a love of higher output, better quality processes? Well, I think it's something more. I think it's something bigger. What is that common thread that we share with our interest and our deep appreciation of technology? Why is it that when we hear of a new idea, a new design, when we walk past a new concept, why do we stop? Why do we listen? Why do we pay attention to it? Well, as we saw from Art Hollander today, one of the reasons we care is captured in this word, hope. Hope. Technology offers us hope. Hope that we will be better tomorrow than we are today. Some examples, big examples. Technology offers us hope that we will continue to find ways to feed our growing population with affordable, safe, high-quality foods. One of our nominees is in that arena. Technology offers us hope that we will one day refer to cancer in the same way that we refer to smallpox as a thing of the past. Technology offers us that hope. Technology offers us hope that we will be able to develop clean, renewable energy sources to satisfy our growing energy demands without the frightening consequences associated with our current CO2 output. Technology is offering us that hope. So technology offers us hope, hope that we will be better tomorrow than we are today. And in honoring our tech-savvy businesses of the year, we are honoring those who are keeping that dream alive in all of us. We are honoring those who fuel our inner flames that we have deep inside that say, we can solve this better, we can solve this faster, we can solve this differently than it's ever been done before. We honor those who support the efforts to tackle some of our world's greatest challenges by tackling some of their own right here in little old Wenatchee. So today we're going to honor those who give us hope. Hope that we will be better tomorrow than we are today. And for this, we thank all of our tech-savvy businesses out there. So a round of applause for our collective tech-savvy businesses. So jumping into the award presentation. Technology is an essential part of business in 2016. Some companies are taking an innovative and unique approach to technology to take their business to the next level. We are here today to recognize 3 outstanding companies in North Central Washington who range in industry. Before we announce the winner, though, let me tell you about the 3 final nominees and why they were nominated. First, Numerica Credit Union. Numerica has implemented innovation advancements in 3 main areas of member-facing technology: online, mobile, and ATMs. Numerica was one of the first financial institutions in the region to integrate Apple's biometric fingerprint Touch ID into their app, putting the ease of logging in at your fingertips. In early 2016, Numerica launched Card Freeze, which was another app feature that allowed members to temporarily block credit and debit cards from their purchases. Numerica is committed to staying on the forefront of technology and continuing to impress and delight their members. Numerica. Next is Fibro Corp. Fibro Corp specializes in making molded fiber egg cartons. They also supply packaging to fruit producers, fruit packers, supermarket chains, and food service distributors. Because of the technology that it developed, Fibro Corp competes in global markets and sells to many U.S. businesses, as well as companies in Australia, South Africa, Asia, and Southeast Asia. Fibro's innovative manufacturing techniques have changed the outcome of the packaging, making it the strongest of its kind, which will allow the company to expand its green packaging products to new businesses, as well as develop new lifestyle products that will serve new markets. Next, Stimilt. Stimilt produces apples, pears, cherries, and summer fruits. This massive fruit business would not be able to handle the sheer volume at the speed necessary to maintain quality and competitive pricing without utilizing technology. As one of the first fruit companies to put their money behind research and development, Stimilt has taken their operations into the 21st century while still being a family business valuing people and service. The sorting and handling of their fruit through the use of computers has enabled this worldwide leader in fruit production to grow their business globally. They continue to invest in new concepts and product lines and look to innovation as a way to differentiate themselves from the pack. You name it, Stimilt has it, all in their top-of-the-line facilities right here in Wenatchee. Stimilt. So, with that, I think we are ready to present the Tech Savvy Business of the Year is Stimilt. So while they're coming up, we're going to start a video for you. So come on up.
It's really been a journey over the last many years in terms of how do we take new technologies and put them into practical application. We've really embraced the new technology from GWATA that really is using digital technology to sort good and bad apples, looking at 5 to 8 apples a second and taking 65 pictures of each apple. What's great about technology is that it continues to improve and get faster. It was just, 2 years ago, taking 65 pictures a second of each apple was state-of-the-art. There's just been a new technology launch that can take 105 pictures of each apple and look at 8 apples a second. And this is the exciting part, that it will continue to evolve and we'll have to find new ways to integrate these new ideas. A lot of folks at Stimilt come up with great ideas and they bring them to their teams and they get escalated into a prioritization meeting. And really some of the newest technologies and the best applications have come from our people, in the warehouse, in the fields, and really integrating those into functional technologies. Like out in the field, in terms of our irrigation sensors and how do we get live moisture data, that really came from the guys out in the field and helped us to refine those systems. What we're finding is that technology has allowed us to grow more effectively. There's always these pressure points within a supply chain. And what we've done is taken these pressure points and made it to where technology can do 80% of the work fluidly and seamlessly. And really the people just have to get involved on the 20% that are one-offs or exceptions. These new technologies are always enhancing our company, and it seems like as soon as we implement a new technology, we find a better way to enhance it and really take it to the next level. Technology is just a tool. It's how do we apply it in a way that brings better function to what we do every day.
Hello, my name is Rodney Dye. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at Stemilt, and it's an honor to be selected Tech Savvy Business of the Year. My thanks would go a lot to West and the executive team and the people I work with. Without the support, vision, and the funding to put the projects in, it wouldn't be possible. Without the teams, IT is just one pillar to take care of that. You know, IT, we can bring the technology in, but without the support and the interaction with the other teams who diligently and work hard with us have made this successful. So it's a pleasure to be nominated.
Again, thank you, great nominees, great event. I want to thank Rodney. Came to Stemilt 12 years ago, and the IT department was, just say it was in the basement, and there were lots of wires going lots of places, and they would have failed their cleaning inspection. But really, it's Stemilt, we exist to cultivate people and delight consumers. And what's been great is to see the amount of job satisfaction and fulfillment that people have gotten out of being able to do their jobs more effectively, and being able to carry more responsibility, but not necessarily work harder. And also to see ideas start out as just thoughts and see folks take them all the way into fruition. And we have a great team that does that. And anyway, we look forward to a good spring and a good harvest. Thank you.
It's time now to recognize our innovative use of technology in the classroom. Please welcome up Ron Brown. He's with the Wenatchee School District and GWATA Vice President.
One of the things I noticed as I watched those local businesses come up here, a lot of local learners coming through our school system who are now those entrepreneurs and business owners. I was privileged to coach and teach some of Wes's brothers and sisters, so it is great to see it stay in the valley. So I love to see that. So we had a rich assortment of innovative teachers and programs nominated this year for our awards. We had 20 nominations representing 14 different schools from 4 different school districts in the region. And GWATA is proud to be starting to create these partnerships that support innovative education and continue the support for science, technology, engineering, and math, otherwise known as STEM. So you're going to see us have a lot more outreach in the areas of STEM, because what we have to do to fill up the plants of Stemilt and app creation from Centricity and social media sponsoring from businesses like the Tumbleweed is we need some local pipelines of kids and students ready for this kind of different workplace. We were educated in an industrial age. Most of the people in this room who are my age, maybe older, we sat in rows and we were educated one way, and it is changing, and we have to make that education relevant to students. So what you're going to see with the nominations today, both from the teacher side and from the student side, is you're going to see a different way of educating. It doesn't mean it's better, or it doesn't mean it's the right and what we had was the wrong. It's different. And today's age is different. We have to embrace technology. It's got to be relevant, and we have to engage those students in their world, not our past. So what you're going to see today in our 3 nominees for this award is that passion for a people business. Teaching is an incredibly rigorous profession, and these people are about relationships first, building relationships with their students. Technology will never take the place of a powerful teacher and educator in their environment. So what these teachers do is embrace the use of that relevant technology to help out a kid and let them learn, let them be passionate. And so I just want to recognize, I know they stood up earlier, but there's a ton of kids in the room. And when I say kids, it's lightly. These are young adults in the room today helping us out with those cardboards that some people couldn't figure out unless you had a young person helping you. So if all the students could stand up, and if you're a teacher, stand up. There's an amazing group of educators in the room today. I want to give them a warm round of applause. It is a noble profession, so I hope that we continue to consider them professionals and reward them for their excellent work, because we've seen it with with people already today coming through our own school system. So I'm going to read a little bit of stats on the first 3 nominees for our award. So our first finalist, Tina Nickpan Brown from Lincoln Elementary School in Wenatchee School District. Tina is passionate about teaching and learning. She exudes enthusiasm and creativity and consistently conjures amazing STEAM projects for her students, making helmets and testing them at the Ridge, making snowshoes, creating structures to withstand earthquakes, making cheese, and leading field trips to our foothills for her students to gain a better understanding of the issues surrounding wildfires. Our next is the Classroom Transition Program from Cascade High School. And I'll mention Jesse Clanky and Rachel Barkema. This life skills classroom at Cascade High School is in its 2nd year of a transitional vocational program where students are learning job skills and applying those skills in actual job placements in our community. The transition program uses technology directly to engage these young adults to become independent and self-reliant young workers. Our third finalist, Brian Herling, Westside High School from Wenatchee School District. Brian bought his first 3D printer for his classroom with his own money and was quickly inspired to inspire his students. He later applied for a grant and was awarded a new 3D printer, has been a game changer for engagement in his classroom. Mr. Herling and his student team recently met with an amputee patient, as you might have seen in the Wenatchee World article, and they used that 3D printer to design and make him a prosthetic hand with working fingers. Some great nominees. And the winner is Brian Herling, Westside High School.
I work with my students in an alternative ed setting, and so kind of have an interesting rapport with a lot of them, and a lot of opportunity to do different kinds of education than I've done in more regular ed classrooms. The most significant thing I've done differently is I have a 3D printer, actually 4 of them now, you can see several in the background. They are here to both be focuses of certain kinds of education and then also supplements to others. I can print anything, it's kind of incredible. Once you have a 3D printer, you just realize that a lot of problems you used to have are different now. You just don't realize the things you can do if you have a 3D printer, and I think that's just going to become more and more prevalent. A lot of students, especially in the alternative ed setting, come to us because they don't fit inside of a regular ed setting, and they're much more hands-on. They really want to see and touch and connect with whatever it is that they're learning in a very tangible way. 3D printers are probably the most natural extension of that kind of learning because you're literally making whatever it is that you just taught them about. It gives them the ability to connect with learning in a way that they never could. When you make changes to any of your design, anything you're doing, you literally see the results immediately. There's no delay, there's no question as to what it does. So there's a real close connection between the work that people are doing and the ideas they're learning and the actual results, which I think is hard for people to see in math a lot of times. We give them all these algebra equations and they don't really see the connection. There is a very corporate sense of corporate side of the world where everyone wants to make money off of things. But in the maker community, everybody's just trying to share ideas and just create. So once you create something, you share it because why wouldn't you? Somebody else may need the same problem solved, and it's no use waiting, forcing them to go through the same work that you've done. So you share the file and you let everybody else do with it whatever they need to, and you kind of just let it go because the point is solving problems, not making money.
I have a lot of thanks to send out. I'm really thankful to Corey Callahar as my principal, who even gave me the opportunity to do all this stuff. That's exactly what Westside is all about, is trying to find new ways to connect with students. I really want to thank my wife for letting me buy the 3D printer in the first place. It was, I sold something that I never used, and look where it's brought me. And especially the 2 partners in crime, Luke Stay There and Christian Edson, they have worked with me this entire time, helped resurrect that machine. I cannot tell you how many times. They try to prevent me from touching it because it seems like whenever I do, it dies. But they have learned so much in the process. I mean, Christian and Luke have both gone through countless numbers of times where we've had to figure out exactly what the problem was, and I think what they have learned will carry on with them. And to all the educators that are out there, really try to do something different like this. There's an awful lot of things that you don't expect you will discover until you journey down that path. And at times it feels like you're throwing yourself off a cliff because it's nervous, it's difficult, and it's something that you don't know where the end is going to be. But after you've kind of thrown yourself off the figurative cliff, you realize you're really throwing yourself out of a nest, and that you'll find your wings, and that you really will do amazing things with this new technology. You can do incredible things, but you just have to start walking. Take that first step, jump over that quarter, and you'll be able to keep going.
Thanks so much. And a quick word of thanks to that gentleman that they referred to in that Wenatchee World article that got the new hand. He actually attends my church, and I remember the week after that he received that, he came there and he was beaming, and I shook his hand. And I said, congratulations, and he looked at me and said, it's a miracle. So you're doing good stuff. Thank you very much. Time now to welcome the Future Technology Leaders Award. This is presented by Lee Lambert of Washington STEM and the Apple STEM Network, as well as Dr. Sue Kane. She's with Wenatchee Valley College and the Apple STEM Network. Big hand for them.
I want to thank everyone for having me here today. I'm the token West Sider. As introduced, my name is Lee Lambert. I work for a nonprofit called Washington STEM. We're about 5 years old. We make investments and advocate for improvements in STEM education from PK all the way through 20. I lead our STEM networks, and Wenatchee is a new member of one of the 10 communities we support as a STEM network. Washington STEM has a lens of equity for its work and hopes to ensure that all students graduate high school STEM literate, and we have a goal of doubling the number of students who go into STEM careers by 2025. I'd like to hand it over to Sue here to talk a little bit about the Apple STEM Network and the work they're embarking on.
Hi, I'm Sue Kane, and I'm actually with Wenatchee Valley College, and Wenatchee Valley College is the backbone organization for the new collaborative network, the Apple STEM Network. And this collaborative has brought together educators from K-12 in Cashmere, Wenatchee, and East Wenatchee, and then higher ed, GWATA, a number of our business partners, as well as the PUDs and the ports, and hopefully a number of you after tonight or after this afternoon. We're trying to develop a pathway for students to be able to build STEM literacy skills. And by STEM literacy, I mean problem-solving skills, a lot like, Ari with the virtual reality that you saw today, a lot like, some of the innovative technologies like this STEMilt technology that we just saw. We want our kids to be able to tackle problems, real-world problems, and use critical thinking skills to be able to overcome those problems. And to do that, we really need to empower our teachers, our educators, and so we're working on some ways that we can empower them to bring some of the STEM literacy skills to their students. We want to be able to connect you to the students as well. And so as our community partners out there, community partners to be, I would really challenge you to look for opportunities to get invested in the Apple STEM Network as it develops, because we really want opportunities for kids to interact with you. That's actually the first thing that we have done as a network is to fund the students that are sitting at your tables today, to make sure that they get an opportunity to interact with each of you and ask you about the local STEM opportunities that are right here in our valley and the needs that we have in our valley, so that we can get them thinking about these things. And so that we can get them innovating. And that's really what gets me up in the middle of the night, is thinking about what possibilities are out there for our students here. So I look forward to seeing most of you in the future, in the coming year as we get going. So I have the pleasure of introducing 3 of the K-12 future technology leaders that were finalists. So let me get my notes here. So our first nominee, I'm not sure who's coming up first actually. Oh, good. Okay. So there's a lot of things that I could tell you about Theo, actually. In reading his bio, this is a young man that we will hear more about. But Theo is actually at Wenatchee High School, and he's a third-year engineering student there. And this student actually has a huge heart. And one of the things that I want to tell you about what Theo has done, he's done some incredible technology projects under Doug Merrill's direction that include building the first quadcopter at the high school, and he used some engineering skills to build an open rover that works underwater. I'm not quite sure how this works, to be honest with you. But one of the ones that really spoke to me was there was a special needs student that has a job here in the Valley where she's visually impaired, and one of the things that she has to do is actually replace batteries in consoles that are used throughout the business. And she was having some hard time doing this. And Theo took it upon himself to engineer a solution for her and worked with her to develop a device that would help her to orient the batteries to be able to insert into this device so that she could do her job better. And that's not something that he's personally getting any kind of a kickback from. It's just something that he saw, the problem, and knew that he had the skills to be able to design some technology to help her with that. And I think that's admirable. Yeah. And so the second nominee is Karen Harris. She's at Cashmere High School. Equally impressive. This young lady has taken some programming skills that she has, and for those of you who are out there who may be looking for a programmer at some point, I wrote down a couple of these because I don't program, but she's proficient with Fireworks and Dreamweaver and Photoshop, and she's an accomplished programmer. She actually they were revising their student web, or their district web portal, I guess, and she actually facilitated the transfer of the school district website to this new server. And for a district, kudos to you for allowing a student to have so much hands-on in that. And for the student, this is an incredible learning experience, project-based learning experience. She plans to go on to Eastern and major in computer science. And my hat goes off to her about that as well. Only 6% of the workforce in computer science right now are females, and this is an incredible young lady. So the last nominee is Moses, and Moses is actually maybe one of my favorite characters in these three nominees for the storyline. It's not every day, his nomination said, that your science project turns into school lunch. And I can tell you, you wouldn't want to eat any of mine. But this young man was under Beth Hamburg's agriculture class, learning about aquacultures, and really took a fascination and decided to develop a tilapia farm with the hopes of providing some sustainable, local, fresh fish for Wenatchee High School. And he had to engineer the structure, had to redesign and recraft certain aspects of it, scale it back, scale it up, figured out how to, how he was going to build it. Then he actually started writing for grants and talking to local businesses and showing some of that real innovative spirit to be able to come in and build this automated feeding system for tilapia, and ended up with he raised 100 fish and had to infuse some of the chemistry skills in keeping these fish alive, and hopes to continue this work to be able to provide that sustainable resource to the school district as a legacy. So this is a pretty incredible set of three students. So the winner is Theo Marshall.
I guess I played a lot of video games as a kid, and there's always cool things that in real life that can never really happen. And I don't know, I like finding ways to make things better, or like make them easier to use or whatever. And 3D modeling is a good way to create those things that you have in your head that you're like, oh, I wish I had one of these, or something that will help me do this. I want to be designing things and making them become reality, whether it's 3D modeling or architecture, it doesn't really matter. Engineering to me is kind of almost the same thing.
Theo Marshall started in my classes his sophomore year, and the first time I really met him was when I was talking to a group of students, and I said, hey, have you guys seen this thing called a Raspberry Pi? And this is this really cool new technology, and I see Theo, and he's fumbling around his backpack, and he pulls this thing out and says, me one of these? And so I thought, oh my gosh. And so this guy's already, using the technology that I'm still reading about.
Basically, you start by making a model, obviously, and you save it as a special file type, which is STL, stilligraphy. You then put it on a flash drive or whatever, put it into another computer, and that computer is set up with the software that communicates with the 3D printer. And that pretty much writes what's called a tool path, which is just kind of the motion of the 3D printer's nozzle.
He was starting in on a project with a couple other students that I turned him loose and I said, I've got this underwater remotely operated vehicle kit. It's $900, but after I've seen what you've done in the classroom, it's all yours. Go ahead and put it together. And so we went to the Maker Faire. They talked with the inventor and co-founder of the Open ROV, and it was just, Theo was off and running with his inventions and ideas at that point. I think watching Theo, he has a passion for so many things in technology, and he just starts in on it. He doesn't have any fears, and when he is stumped, he'll either research it himself or he'll just ask questions. He wants to know more about it, and he doesn't ask very many questions, frankly, because he is a natural at what he's doing.
I don't really know what to say. I never thought I'd really be getting this much recognition for doing the things I love to do. Thank you. Yeah.
And I get the privilege of announcing the post-secondary award winners. The first nominee, Kyle Beatty, is a student at Wenatchee Valley College. He's a former veteran, and he was nominated for his work in the Wenatchee Valley College biology lab for working on DNA repair mechanisms for algae. This work is important because algae is analogous to human cells, as Sue was telling me. The things he's learning about how algae DNA repairs itself will help us learn about how we can repair our bodies, repair themselves, and help medicine moving forward. Our second set of nominees are Mitch Davis and Miguel Jimenez. And they are also students at Wenatchee Valley College. And they have successfully built and installed and configured an open source server running the FreeNAS software. FreeNAS is a network attached storage system that can be used in a corporate environment in place of much more expensive commercial products. So all you small business owners are looking for students capable of moving to the cloud. Miguel and Mitch can help you make that transition. YVC will be using the FreeNAS server in the classroom to support internal infrastructure. So it'll also be a teaching tool moving forward. And the winner is Kyle Beatty.
The technology project that I participated in has to do with DNA repair. We're currently using Chlamydia pneumonis, and we have a wild type of Chlamydia pneumonis, which is a normal, regular, everyday, run-of-the-mill type of Chlamydia pneumonis, and then we also have genetic variants of this Chlamydia pneumonis. Well, this particular project was it's actually been going on for quite some time now, and I had jumped in the middle of the project. From there, When I was using the wild type, I noticed that at 100 joules of UV damage, there were some smaller pinpoint colonies that we couldn't exactly figure out what was going on or why it is. So from there, we used the 100 joules of UV to apply to some of the different mutants because we noticed that 100 joules of UV was somewhere around the threshold for that particular type of Chlamydomonas. I took a general 100 level biology class, survey of biology, during the summertime with Dr. Sue Kane. And from that point on, I was just fascinated with science.
He kind of displayed some real inquisitive nature, was constantly asking questions, wanted to connect to prior learning.
When I first started, I had little to no background knowledge of any sort of scientific project, research-wise. So when I was able to start with this project, it just, every little bit of it interests me.
I broke off a section of the research for Kyle to start working on, and he dove in and really started to investigate, and you could tell that he was thinking about it even when he was not sitting at the research bench. He was going home and thinking about these things and coming back with, well, I've been thinking about this. I want to try this experiment again. I want to do this with this step and this step and this step. And they were well-articulated arguments to redesign some of his experiments, and I gave him some space to really kind of run with that.
From the beginning, I'd never in my lifetime imagined a future in science. When I was in high school, I was a C or better student, just trying to get by. School wasn't a very big issue to me. I'd already had my life planned out. Then when I came and I started discovering science and it started making sense to me, it really opened the doors of what the possibilities could be.
He's able to really actually own the educational process for himself, and that is the best gift you can give an instructor.
I just want to say thank you to everyone that made this possible. And I want to say thank you to my friend Rachel, who could be here for support. And I also want to say thank you to Dr. Kane. None of this would have been possible without Dr. Kane. When I graduated high school, 3 weeks later, I left for the military. And that was going to be my life. And after 5 years, I realized that my body just couldn't do it, and I needed to make a living off my brain instead of my body. And if you'd have talked to anybody in high school, they would never would have imagined that I would have anything to do with science or even be able to say the word Chlamydomonas. And it just took off from that biology class, and I just want everyone to know, especially the students out there, that you guys can do anything that you want to. Anything that you set your mind to is possible, and don't let anybody tell you that it can't be done. So I just, like I said, thank you.
And the best way to follow the best way to follow a speech like that is to not follow it, and to simply say, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you being here at the GWATA Innovator Awards Luncheon. And you guys have a great afternoon, a great year. Remember, I want to thank all of our nominees today. And be sure to check out all the nominee videos. You can find them on NCWLIFE and www.gwata.org. Here's a going away present for one of you lucky people at the table. Reach underneath where your chair is, and one of you will find a card at each of the table. Those of you that find that card, you get to take that Google Cardboard home so you get a parting gift, some of you. Once again, thanks so much to the people over at People's Bank, as well as JDSA Law, our presenting sponsors. And thanks so much for being here today. We'll see you next year.